you'll know by now that hitting the record button seems to be a weakness of mine, but we'll catch all the good stuff here. So we're playing D chords and we're playing melodically. How do we do that? Just play the notes of the chords, use rhythms. A little bit of sliding helps. So that's step one. Play around with the chords. You don't need to know the scale. There doesn't need to be a complex pattern. You don't need complex fingerings. You don't need to, you can do it with one finger if you want, but you need to make it feel like it's music, and that can be difficult. Sometimes we just, the first attempts of this stuff, we start playing and we think, right, okay, I'm hitting the right notes, but it doesn't feel like a melody. But that doesn't mean there's other notes we need. We need to find a way to make it melodic. And if you're unsure about that, play long notes. Don't play lots of quick notes. Quite often I hear guitar players kind of sort of touching on notes, and it's sort of like you're not committing to anything. But like if you were to let the notes ring, it's good, and it's going to sound even better when we do a chord change. So let's flip it. We're going to play A now. It won't be different shapes, they'll just be in different locations. So if we use the same order, the first A chord will be that shape. Right, it's what we traditionally think of as the D chord shape, but we're now up at the 7th fret. There's an A there. Here's an A here. 14, 14, 12. You've got one at the 5th fret as well. 6, 5, 5. 2, 2, 0. So again, we need to be comfortable finding those notes. That might be a 10-minute job, it might be a 10-week job. Doesn't really matter how long it takes, they'll always be the right notes. And so if you ever find yourself playing over chord changes, struggling to hit the right notes, then at least you know the path. Doesn't necessarily make it easier, doesn't make it harder, but it definitely is the right path. You won't get lost if you follow this. This will lead to the promised land, I assure you. So it starts to feel like you're playing melodically when you've got somewhere to go from D to A, right? Just like David Gilmour played, he goes. So that's how he plays it. We're just going to play some ideas moving from a D to an A. Let's try this D, 7, 7, 5. I'd also like to point out that you don't have to hold these chord shapes down. You can simply just fret them one note at a time. So it's play for a bar on D, play for a bar on A. If just jumping straight in with strong melodic ideas doesn't feel natural, then just play really simply. An easy way to do that is allocate 4 beats, 4 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. There I'm playing the arpeggio along. one string. Makes for some compelling, simple, melodic ideas. And you get to improve your fretboard knowledge as you go. Everyone's a winner. So, what happens next? We've got this chord progression. Another chord pair, C and G. So we're expecting to see the notes of the C and G chords being inferred in our solo. Let me just finish our exercise 1. D and A, find all the D chords, repeat for all the, if you're looking for a starting point, start with the top 3 strings. Create simple melodies, let's say 2-bar melodies, using only the chord tones. No scales, no mystery, just chord tones. Exercise 2. C and G chords. Repeat the above for these 2 chords. So, let's have a look and see what happens on the C and G. So we've got the D part. This is the G note. We've landed on a G note. That's part of the C chord. It's no mystery. He does this little descending run. But he's really just descending down the scale. Just playing around with the notes on a C chord, and then it changes to G. It goes to a D note, which is part of the G chord. There's a great lick. What is it? It's a G chord. Again, I would encourage you to spend some time, if you want, figuring this out more note per note. But like, again, I'm just going to jump in and just say, like, let's find C chords, let's find G chords, let's create lines, and then our last exercise, which again won't be exactly like the song. We won't be playing D to A twice and G. We'll be playing one continuous 4-bar loop. But if I have D, kind of be our playground, will be that movement. But first, let's look at the C chords. Same shapes as before, just in different locations. The C chord, 5, 5, 3. That's our C chord. Then the next C chord goes 9, 8, 8. Then the next C chord goes 12, 13, 12. So, yeah, so the G chords will be the same shapes. G, G, and G. And maybe I would just take a little second here to just clear up any kind of uncertainty about these shapes, how we're finding them, what they are, how we can organise them. This shape here, for instance, for G, the root note's in the high E string, G. This shape here that looks like a D chord, the note G is in the B string. This chord here, the note G, is on the third string, the G string. So when I change to the C chord, the note C in the G string, the note C on the high E string, the note C on the B string. And some of you guys might think, well, this is all perfectly well. Other guys might be thinking, well, that's not, you know, it's a bit above my current ability level. But again, we're talking here about a path that works. It's up to you then to put the work in with that. The basic currency here is knowing where the notes are on the fretboard. You know, and that's something that everybody should be working on. It shouldn't be one of those projects that sort of gets half finished. Like, get to know where the notes are on the fretboard. It's not rocket science because they're not going anywhere. And then understand how these triads fall into that. And now you're perfectly equipped to play anything anywhere on the fretboard. And that's going to give you that confidence that's going to result in more freedom, that's going to come out as better playing. And you know, even if you were just starting this today, you could have these triads down on all the notes on the fretboard. And again, this is a really conservative estimate within the next 2 months. You could do it in 2 weeks really, but like, you know, even if you were just doing a little bit each day, 2 months, you could have this down pat. If you've already done a bit, like, you could be amazed how far you could get along with this in a week. Get yourself a practice routine, work at this. You know, some of you guys I've actually been working with one-on-one, and you know, that's what we're working on, is you finding out where are the areas that we need to work on, what are the simple exercises that we need to work on to get there, putting in the work with them, getting the results. So you know, formulate your own practice routine and choose your own destiny. So let's do some C to G lines, right? I'm going to go starting on my little C chord here, which was the 5-5-3 little shape. Moving to the G chord, which is the 4-3-3. So C chord. I'm using the 9-8-8. I'm using the 7-8-7. C and G. Science, no mystery, just notes of the chord. So we've got our first 2 exercises laid out for us. And by the way, you can choose any other chords. These exercises are not about the songs, they're just vehicles for exploration. Exercise 3, practice over the chord progression below. And just to be clear, we're not doing it exactly like the song, we're just unpacking the song. We're going to do D for a bar, we're going to do A for a bar, we're going to do C for a bar, we're going to do G for a bar. And that's it. Create simple yet strong melodies by playing only chord tones. And we'll just say you may embellish using slides, bends, etc. Let's see how that works out. So I am playing D, sorry, John, the notes I was just writing in to ask questions on Circle, I've actually posted them now, but just for you, I will put them into the chat that we have here. So now you should see that whole little lesson in chat. Easy peasy. So, D to A to C. Now what's interesting about this chord progression, your little bonus that you get here, is that C chord doesn't really belong in a sense. If we say that this chord progression is in the key of D, key of D, the chords are D, E minor, F sharp minor, G, A, B minor, C sharp diminished. They're the chords. Notice that there is no C chord. The C chord is a borrowed chord. So, what does that mean? There's a borrowed chord. It comes from the key of D minor. We say we've borrowed it from, we say we have borrowed it from the parallel minor key. There is no scale that fits all of these chords. Maybe this is what David Gilmour was thinking when he chose to outline the solo using chord tones. Yeah? So, this is the thought process. You know, I learned to play guitar by ear primarily. You know, I learned from books and stuff like that, but like everything I can do that's musical came from music. Surprise, surprise. And it came from listening to things that I liked and figuring out not only what they were playing, but trying to devise, based on scraps of music theory I could pick up, why they chose those notes. And it would be my assessment here that this song was written first as a vocal piece, you know, as a song. And then when you're singing, you're tapping more into an intuitive sense of where things are for most people. And then when it comes time to play a solo, he's thinking, wow, what am I going to play over the top of this? Now, whether he was thinking that or not, if you're going to play a solo and it's in the key of D and there's a C chord, you have to treat that chord differently. You keep playing, for instance, the scale's got a C sharp in it. You play a C sharp on D on a C chord, it's a dissonant note. So, this allows you to play in a really melodic way. So, we're going to try now C and G. Just a couple of simple ideas that you can hopefully pick up, and then we'll run our D and A into it, and I think you'll be impressed with the results. So, our C lick, we're doing up at the 9th fret, 9, 8, 8. Moving back to the G chord at 7, 8, 7. Here's my lick, right? And this is a cool lick, you can steal it, it's yours. And I'm going to slide into the 9th fret with my second finger. And I'm going to jump onto the high E string with my index finger, that's 9. And then I'm going to go like this, which is very similar to what David Gilmour does in the song. So I've stole from him. Sharing is caring, right? So I'm going to go. Slide in 9, 8. I'm repeating that note a few times. 7, 8, 7. If you want extra brownie points from the rock god, you go and you slide into that note. So keep that one under your hat. That's going to be our C to G move. Now let's get our D to A move. I think you'll like this. It's the exact same thing, 2 frets higher. Right? So again, we can see that those chords, based on that example, have a unique relationship, right? D to A is a 1 to 5, C to G is a 1 to 5. Meaning, if D is the 1 chord, A is the 5 chord. If C is the 1 chord, G is the 5 chord, right? Now, we haven't related note there, a common tone, right? It's the 9th fret. We did the ending on the 9th fret of the G string, and then we started there. It's a good lick, nothing wrong with it. I would suggest you use it. But if you ever come across that, I think it's nice to have a variation, something that you introduce a new note. Let's see how that sounds. So we're going to go. In this case, I just played the 8th fret of the B string. I didn't do the string skip thing, the 9 on the G, the 8 on the high E. I just... And then let me show you another little thing that will always work. He doesn't really do this in the song as such. He plays a scale descending. We're going to do the chromatic scale descending, right? So it's going to be really easy to memorise. I play the lick. And then when you walk down to that 8th fret by playing 10 on the B, 10, 9, 8. It actually feels better, right? I'm in this position. And variations thereof. Find another area on the neck. D and A. Another variation. This stuff's fun, but it's challenging sometimes to get ahead with it. I've been playing those same notes for 20 odd years. I've not reinvented the wheel, but like I get more and more into it. Tone's a big factor, feel's a big factor, phrasing's a big factor, but none of these things are on a guitar. Arguably tone is, right? You know, we can, you know, but even then, you know, people say tone is in the fingers, right? It's like, it's a touch thing. It's an ear thing. And that's the good news and the bad news. The bad news is you won't find it in a book. The good news is you will find it in your own head, and it doesn't cost any money. But it's frustrating. I get that. It is frustrating. And when we're frustrated, we tend to look to other things. I'm frustrated, let me go and learn something else. I'm frustrated, I must, you know, let me get another teacher or another book or, you know, another path or another method. And quite often in those times it's that let me just plug away with this until I get it right. David Gilmour did. So I guess we should follow in those kind of footsteps. Now we probably will have a look at part 2 of this solo because I think there's some cool pentatonic phrases that we'll look at next week. But let's finish off today by looking at how we can incorporate these licks with the pentatonic scale. So we're in the key of D, loosely speaking, right? And we've explained why. And the D major pentatonic scale is the scale that we play. Most people are not as fluent with the major pentatonic scales as they are with the minor pentatonic scales. But there is a trick. And if Emily could post what that is in the chat, that would be phenomenal. You will win a wagon wheel. And that's to tell me which minor pentatonic scale can I use, or can I think of, in the key of D? D major. Anybody in the chat? Which minor pentatonic scale can I use in the key of D major? I see John coming in there with the fastest fingers in the West. Wolf, there's Matt coming in as well. It's a race against time. Gary Oliver got there first. I didn't even see you. You sneaked in there, Gary. You're right as well, John. John Hassan has said H minor. That is a niche choice, but I'm assuming you meant B. BMW. Right. Yeah, that's correct. B minor pentatonic is D major pentatonic. We're just repeating, covering ground here. We've looked at a lot, but you know, repetition and fat fingers. Repetition is the mother of skill. So let's just go back over something we've looked at many times. Let's take this D chord here, right? Right at the 5th fret, D major. And the B minor pentatonic scale shares this little, again, what John Mayer calls the pentatonic equator. If you want to play the chords, here's D major, here's B minor, D major, and B minor, right? They both share this little straight line kind of thing. D major, B minor. This B minor chord goes with B minor pentatonic, position 1. And then this D chord, you can do the little Hendrix trick of just running it in. And so that's the D major pentatonic scale or the B minor pentatonic scale. They're the same notes, but it's true to say it's minor if the chord's minor and vice versa. So we already know some target notes here for chord progression, and let's see if we can just mix the approaches a little bit. So we're going to play some B minor pentatonic, but we're going to land on notes in the A chord. Remember, the B minor pentatonic is the D major, so for the first chord, D, you don't need to worry your cotton socks, you're fine, right? You can just play the scale. But when you come to the A chord, let's find one nearby. There it is. 9, 10, 9. It's the D chord shape. It's right there. It's very close by. It's within a finger's reach. So what we're going to do, well, let's pose this to the chat. That chord, A major, up at the 9th fret, how many notes in that chord are not in the B minor pentatonic scale? For a holiday in Barbados. So in the chat, right, okay John, good, but for the holiday you're going to need to tell me which note it is. If you just tell me the name of the fret, like what string, what fret, or you could tell me the name of the note, I'll accept various different kinds of answers. So yep, Gary, that's it. It's one of the notes is different from the scale, but in order to win this holiday, this trip of a lifetime, you'll need to tell me actually what the name of the note is, or you can tell me what fret it's on and what string it's on. It's on, oh John, the B string. I'll assume you meant the E string. It's right, you're right Gary Oliver, it's C sharp, right? That's the only note that's not in that scale. So that's our target note, right? We're going to play a lick, so I'll freshen the ears with the chords. And then we play the lick, we'll play something pentatonic, right? Most of you have got some kind of pentatonic lick in you. And just landing on C sharp. That's a nice one where you play the two notes in the high E string and then approach this bad boy. So if I play 7 and then I play 10, right? 7, 10. and then I'm going to fall back onto that 9th fret, that note that we've talked about. That's the lick, 7, 10, 9. Now of course that works in other areas of the fretboard, right? There's other C sharps. Here's a C sharp here, right? It's at the 6th fret of the G string. So we're going to try some descending ideas. So it's just one note to think of. You know the B minor pentatonic scale and other areas of the fretboard. Happy days, play it here. C sharp. Sorry. That's for D and A. Remember, C and G is going to be a similar type of adventure. But you guys will need to tell me what is the relative minor pentatonic scale. If you hear C major pentatonic and that doesn't immediately light up the fretboard for you, what is the minor pentatonic scale that is related to it? For £1 million, Holiday in Barbados, Trouser Press, Orange Juice Squeezer, all that good stuff you would get in Bullseye. For the UK viewers, that's right, A minor. So we can just drop down into the A minor pentatonic scale, 5th position, and do that thing, the same thing, right? And if G is the target chord, then B will be the note on the high E string, the 7th fret. It's just going to be the exact same thing, 2 frets lower. So I'll just assume that you'll be able to get that, and I'll play the first thing here. Okay, so we're just moving simple ideas around the fretboard. You know, play the scale, target a note. Play the scale, target a note. Play the chords, tones. So before we wrap it up here, I'm kind of in a bit of a hurry tonight, but does anybody have any questions that they would like to ask about this approach, or I'd be quite happy to just sink our teeth into it? Questions on a postcard. Okay, if we don't have any questions, then I am happy. I'm going to post this chat, this recording into the, well, I guess it's the, well, Andy's Wednesday class. Next week we're going to look at the end solo, and again we're just packing little fragments and using them to improve our knowledge of the fretboard. I hope everybody has a phenomenal week. I'll see some of you guys again throughout the week, and keep on rocking in the free world, as Neil Young once said. All the best, guys.